All right, everybody. Today we will be talking about Frida Kahlo, her life, and her famous painting titled The Broken Column, which she created in 1944. Before we can effectively discuss this painting, however, we need to develop an understanding of Kahlo's life leading up to this point. Frida Kahlo was born in 1907 with a condition called spina bifida. This condition affects all people differently. For Kahlo, it's believed that medical professionals may have underestimated her condition, not treating it, and that may have led to the back and leg problems she experienced throughout her life. At age 6, Kahlo contracted polio, a virus that destroys the nerve cells in the spinal cord with the potential to cause muscle wasting and paralysis. Kahlo's polio left her bedridden for 3 months and resulted in her right leg being a bit deformed and a bit shorter than her left. Kahlo often wore these long, beautiful, often floral skirts to kind of cover the fact that one of her legs was a little off. She wore these throughout her entire life. The next significant event in Kahlo's life happened when she was 18 years old. On September 17, 1925, Kahlo was badly injured when a bus she was riding on collided with a trolley. The scene may have looked something like the photo we see here. The accident sent a metal rail through her abdomen, leaving her with an injured spine in addition to a broken right leg and foot, and damaged her pelvis to the extent that she would never be able to carry a child to full term. Her injuries from this accident resulted in numerous surgeries, some unnecessary and some unsuccessful. She experienced frequent pain and a constant tired feeling. The accident and surgeries left her completely bedridden for 3 months. During her recovery, she was required to wear specially made and prescribed corsets to keep her spine in line as it healed. In this photo, we see what looks like a cast around Kahlo's chest. So this is a plaster corset she had to wear after her surgery. And in this photo, she is seen painting that corset. Also, during her 3 months of recovery, she used her father's oil paints and a special canvas that allowed her to paint while lying down. Kahlo's paintings from this point forward tended to contain themes and depictions of pain. Kahlo continued to experience copious amounts of physical pain throughout her life from her injuries, but she also experienced a lot of emotional pain. Kahlo was married and divorced several times from another Mexican painter named Diego Rivera, whom we see Kahlo with in these photos here. Their relationship was littered with infidelity and miscarriage. So now that we have some perspective on the physical and emotional pains Kahlo experienced throughout her life, let's look more closely at her painting titled The Broken Column, which she made in 1944. So let's break this down. What are we seeing in this painting? Well, the subject is clearly Kahlo herself, with tears running down her face. Her body is bound and constrained by a cage-like body brace. You see these straps wrapping around her torso, and then over her shoulders up here and across her chest. There's a valley of missing flesh on her body that exposes an architectural marble column in place of her spine, which we see here. The column appears to be hopelessly cracked and damaged. It looks as if it could collapse into a pile of rubble at any moment. Metal nails pierced Kahlo's face, arms, torso, and right upper thigh, which is covered by a white cloth. In the painting, Kahlo places herself in an open landscape. The terrain is barren and severed in many places. Perhaps this landscape is communicating how Kahlo's body felt at the time, all sliced up after her surgeries and barren due to her inability to carry children. So what else is Kahlo trying to communicate to us in this piece? Let me kind of start off by saying that many people called Kahlo a surrealist painter. but she always denied those claims, saying that her work was not of dream worlds, but rather how she perceived reality. In this piece, Kahlo is taking something invisible, like pain, and representing it with imagery, personifying her pain, also perhaps proving to viewers her tolerance of pain. So now let's look again at the metal corset Kahlo's wearing in the piece, these bands here and up here. Across Kahlo's slew of surgeries, doctors prescribed her a variety of corsets to support her degrading spine. In 1944, when this piece was painted, Kahlo's health had declined to the extent that she was unable to sit upright without being tied to the back of a chair, with her spine supported also by a steel corset similar to the one we see in her painting here, The Broken Column. We see that Kahlo is facing us, confronting us, and I feel that she's reminding us of a time when we could have done more to help ease someone's pain. This theme of how people perceive, communicate, and help others with pain is extremely relevant today, even with modern medical advances. Even with the painkillers and surgeries available today, there is always the question of how much treatment is too much or too little. What is truly necessary to help the patient through their pain? Research today speculates that Kahlo's constant pain may have caused doctors to overestimate her injuries and perform numerous unnecessary operations. And this is a huge mistake if a doctor performs an unnecessary operation. It's not a small something fixable. This is a permanent damage to Kahlo's body. Now just imagine if that happened to you or someone you love. So from the time The Broken Column was painted in 1944 until the end of her life in 1954, Kahlo had 8 more surgeries on her spine, in addition to the amputation of her right leg below the knee, and that was due to gangrene. Now, as one can imagine, these operations littered the remainder of Kahlo's life with even more pain. And she even felt phantom pains in her right ankle and foot that had been amputated, that were no longer part of her body. And sensations like these are actually rather common in amputees. So, as we learned, Frida Kahlo experienced a huge amount of both physical and emotional pain in her life. Fortunately, however, she was able to document and manifest her feelings through art, which was a very important form of expression for her, iconic pieces of art history for us today, as well as acting as a vessel for carrying on the important theme that everyone experiences pain differently, and we must work to effectively communicate it to one another.